can be seen to make concessions in head-to-head negotiation with the Treasury. Now, that might suggest that as Chief Secretary, you would potentially approach the bid with a degree of scepticism. Is that right?
I'm not sure I'd use the word scepticism, but any spending minister will put in bids larger than he expects to be approved, because he knows in negotiations if he makes concessions in some area, he's more likely to get exactly what he wishes in another area. And also you would find typically, let's assume the Cabinet had set a remit of X for the sum total of all the public expenditure. Routinely, when the bids were submitted, they would come to X plus a very great deal. They might even come to 2X. And so there was a huge amount to be taken out of the public expenditure bids in order to meet the demands of what the economy can afford without rapidly rising taxation or rapidly increasing borrowing. And of course, in that particular period, in the 80s and the 90s, of course, we were in a period of great economic difficulty. We were facing high levels of unemployment. We were facing very high levels of inflation, and it was necessary to deal with those. The problem manifested itself a little more seriously a little later than 87. In 89 and 90, it was a much more serious position. But even then, there was a real concern with inflation. It had been a bugbear for governments since the 1960s. And whatever successive governments, Conservative, Labour, whatever they had been, had tried to do, it had been devilishly difficult to get inflation down and keep it down. And government after government had failed actually to do so. And so inflation was the big bugbear that had affected expenditure right the way through 30, 40 or so years. And it wasn't until 90s and the sheer pain of policies in the 90s, including the exchange rate mechanism, that actually got inflation down to a low period, where it stayed subsequently for about 30 years.
Does that mean that, given the economic background you describe and the role of the Chief Secretary, that the Chief Secretary would be a kind of inverted Mr. McCorber, always looking for something to turn down, effectively?
Well, Mr. McCorber was always waiting for something to turn up.
Precisely.
But not really. The job of the Chief Secretary is not to be an abominable no-man. That is emphatically not his role. It's not only an economic role, it's a political role. And the Chief Secretary would have to be political. He has to reduce bids that are not of prime concern. He has to do that in order to make sure you can fund the things that really are important. So he's not an abominable no-man. But where he sees a bid that plainly is unnecessary or prevents money being provided for something that is more necessary, he's likely to say no to it. But when he finds something that is desirable, it is usually the case that he will accept the bid. Now, he may not accept the entirety of the bid, because the other element of this is to make sure that the money can actually be spent within the financial year. In those days, the public expenditure round covered 1 year only effectively. The principal bit was 1 year only. And so the Chief Secretary would wish to ensure that the bids weren't padded to go into a second year, because if that happens in the Department of Education, then you're having to cut down in the Department of Social Security. So there is a good deal more sub-complexities in the public expenditure round, and I immediately explained all that I set out in the extract from my biography.
And how does the Chief Secretary then decide what is more important, what does merit funding and what does not?
Precedent, necessity, changing circumstances. He'll sometimes take account of something he knows is coming down the road that will occur in the middle of the year but hasn't yet occurred. And of course, because it's impossible to forecast all these things, the Chief Secretary and the Treasury would set a contingency fund as well. The contingency fund is more an art form than a science. You gather together what you think might happen that is unexpected and unforeseen, and what it might cost. And it's very much an assessment. There's no scientific process in that, but it does give you a contingency fund so that if something occurs in mid-year that could not have been foreseen or is more expensive than was foreseen, there is a contingency fund to which the department can turn approach the Chief Secretary and ask for more money.
And is the contingency fund a general one, or are there specific contingencies for
it's a
different
general
departments?
contingency fund. Let us suppose you were the Secretary of State for Health, and in the middle of the year, a new health crisis arose that you hadn't foreseen and nobody else had foreseen. If that involved expenditure, you would come to the Chief Secretary, let us assume it was me, and ask for more money. The first thing I would do would be to look at your budgets and see if you were underspending in some of the areas we had agreed at the previous expenditure round, to see whether there was a bulk of money in your budget that could be moved to meet that contingency. And if there wasn't, and more often there isn't than there is, if there wasn't, I would then discuss with you the size of contingency funding you needed. And I would agree that, and that would be the end of the matter. You would have the money.
So in terms of the annual bids, you've described a process that if there was disagreement, it could go to this Starr chamber, yes, this cabinet or ministerial subcommittee. What about the contingency reserve?
Typically, if there was a disagreement, they could either go to the Deputy Prime Minister, William Whitelaw, who would probably reassemble the committee, or you could appeal directly to the Prime Minister. You could do either.
And if we
the principal point, I'm sure you'll come to this later, but one of the principal jobs of the Prime Minister is actually to determine and settle disagreements between ministers upon expenditure or policy matters.
And so the process you've described, is this right? You wouldn't expect it to go to the Prime Minister unless there was a disagreement that couldn't otherwise be resolved?
No. If there wasn't a disagreement, the Chief Secretary would agree it. And I cannot think of a single occasion in which I agreed a contingency expenditure when it didn't go through without any difficulty at all. I mean, the Chancellor might look at it and raise an eyebrow, but I can't think of a single time when anybody objected to a contingency agreement that had been made.
And typically, how much information would a department supply to the Treasury? I'm talking now about the general process, not the contingency applications or requests. How much information would it supply to the Treasury for the Chief Secretary to take his or her decision?
Oh, they'd supply a certain amount of information. Here is the problem, they would say, this is how we think it will work out, this is the money we think is going to be necessary. The Chief Secretary would then ask questions. He would probably ask, I mean, this doesn't happen for every tiny bit, of course, or you'd be doing it all year. But for the significant areas, the Chief Secretary may well ask further questions. And when you come to talk to me, ask me later about some of the issues that arise, you will see that exactly that thing happened. I paused on the expenditure because I needed to ask a number of questions that had not yet been answered by the department. But in the end, they got their money, but they did have to provide the information that was necessary to ensure it was value for money. The point about the Chief Secretary really is that he is the barrier between a total loss of control over expenditure and the taxpayer having to pay for it. Because it isn't the government's money. That is what people tend often to forget. It is the taxpayer's money. It is the money of everybody in this room and everybody, as Sir Brian said, who may be watching this morning. It is their taxes, and the Chief Secretary is their defence against unlimited expenditure.
Whilst we have this document on screen, could we go to 2 pages further on, please, Lawrence? Just want to pick it up towards the bottom of the page. Just the last 2 paragraphs. So you say in the penultimate paragraph, I tried to reduce or eliminate bids by challenging the case made for them by the ministers facing me, although in doing so I was always acutely aware that they had to return to their departments and defend the deal they had accepted. I always left them with what we in the Treasury called a lollipop, even if we denied many of their cherished schemes. I had no wish to undermine their credibility or that of the government. Just pausing there, what did you mean there by leaving them with a lollipop?
In almost every bid, there's something which, if you were utterly rigorous, you would have been able to toss out. But the credibility of ministers in their department is important. It's important to the conduct of government generally, and it's important to them within their ministry. So occasionally you would see things that you could, if you wish to be utterly ruthless, have torn out of their expenditure bid. And I chose not to do so. They weren't things that involved hundreds of millions of pounds. They would have been relatively small things. But I was conscious that the spending ministers had a responsibility to their departments and to their clients. And as I said, I didn't see the role of Chief Secretary to be an abominable no-man. You sometimes have to accept the advice you're given. So sometimes I was a little more lenient in some areas where I could perhaps, if I wished, have been tougher. But I'll enter this caveat, that it did depend that I could see I was on track for getting the sum total of public expenditure within the ceiling set by the Cabinet.
And to what extent would departments effectively be bidding against each other or trade-offs?
Oh, absolutely they are. They're absolutely bidding against each other. They don't see it that way. I mean, each individual department would look at what that department felt it needed. Now, every department would have had ambitions that would have been too expensive for the taxpayer to meet. So those ambitions had to be delayed or pared back. So in essence, to take the example I gave earlier, if the sum total of public expenditure be permitted by the government that the country could afford was X, and the bids were 2X, then you had to pare things down, and that was the job of the Chief Secretary. So every department was, in a sense, in competition with other departments. It may be that one department, well, for example, if you take the recent COVID outbreak, plainly the Department of Health needed more help than other departments. So within an overall ceiling, two things could have happened. The contingency fund could have met every addition, or alternatively, if other departments were underspending, or if there was no capacity for the contingency fund to meet it, you could have pared down the budgets of other departments.
During the time when you were Chief Secretary, did ministers come to you in very different ways? Were there some who would really fight their corner and try and get as much as possible, and others who would be much more relaxed?
Well, I don't think any of them were very relaxed. Going to the Treasury with an expenditure bid is quite a business. And the Treasury would have been very well briefed, and they would have made sure that I was very well briefed, so it wasn't easy. There were some ministers who were better at it than others. The territorial ministers were always extremely tough, because a large part of their expenditure was just automatically reflected from the percentage expenditure that is made for that department in England. But other things were not. And they fiercely fought for those, largely because they were relatively small amounts. And also because they knew at the end of the day, when you closed the public expenditure round, you weren't going to hold it up for the odd million or so, and they knew it. And so they were much less likely to concede during discussion. The two most difficult ministers to negotiate with throughout the years I was Chief Secretary were territorial secretaries of state.
And I just wanted to pick up what you say in your, again in your autobiography about John Moore, Secretary of State for Health and Social Security at that time. So it's the bottom of the page. You say, one tale needs scotching. John Moore, who after the election had become Secretary of State for Health and Social Security, and I were said to be rivals, and it was widely believed in some quarters that I gave him a poor settlement in order to damage his political career. John was a former, we go over the page, Treasury Minister convinced of the virtues of low spending, and rather quixotically he tried to match his policies to his philosophy. In pursuit of this admirable consistency, he bid for too little money in the public expenditure settlement rather than too much. This concern for prudent economics would cause him much difficulty, a rare and honest approach that earned him opprobrium. Could you just flesh that out a little in the sense of your reflection that he would bid for too little and that would cause him difficulty?
John had been a Treasury Minister. He was steeped in Treasury orthodoxy. He knew how important it was to keep the total of public expenditure within the limits that the country could afford, or we would be borrowing more and interest rates might rise, or we would be, or we would have to raise taxes. And he was acutely concerned about that. And he looked beyond his own department and felt himself instinctively that every department ought to assist the Treasury in making sure you could keep within the public expenditure levels agreed by the Cabinet. He was quite rare among Cabinet Ministers in taking that view. Most of them would look at their department and their direct responsibilities and bid for the money to see whether or not they could get it. That, I think, is basic human nature, and most of them did that. John Moore didn't, in that he differed from the other colleagues. And so his bids were sometimes on the low side. And indeed, there were occasions in the discussions with John Moore when we agreed to move his bids around a bit, so that in some areas he got a little more than he had initially asked for.
And when you say that caused him much difficulty, was that because it resulted in an underfunded department?
Well, it was difficulty. It resulted in difficulty for him because there were things he could have bid to do, but didn't bid to do. And when they popped up a little later, people said, well, why didn't the Secretary of State foresee this? Why didn't he bid for it? And of course, at the end of the day, not in a single year, but over a period of years, you're only in a position to meet really dire contingencies if your financial accounts are in good order. John Moore took that long-term view rather than the short-term view that he must just see his department through the next 12 months.
Can I then turn to your time as Chief Secretary and some of the decisions in which you had a degree of involvement? I'm going to start with a letter, September 1987. It's SCGV 607_050, please, Lawrence. We can see it's addressed to the Prime Minister.
All ladies, you are invited to our premier 13th Annual Women's Conference, Lady to Lady Global Conference 2022. Theme, Joy. Date, Saturday, 30th July. Doors open at 11 a.m. Venue, Fairview's Concert Halls, the Phoenix Theater, Croydon, CR91DG3, United Kingdom. Register on www.ladytoladyglobal.org. Music Minister, CLC Healing Voices. Simeon. Queenie, Ada Ahe.
Congratulations, I have seen the glory of God.
Conference speakers, Reverend Betty King, Pastor Marjorie, Pastor Sandra.
I did come to Lady, and from that day onwards, my life has never been the same.
See you there.
Welcome to Gabby Dave Global. We are a UK-based online e-commerce store, the first of its kind with license to trade in African products. Some of the products are clothing brands and all beauty accessories, hair and beauty brands, natural aphrodisiacs, processed and dried unprocessed food. Our mission at Gabby Dave is to connect African and Caribbean businesses to customers globally. At Gabby Dave, we ensure our sellers get the best deal for their products. We are not just here to help you reach a wider audience. We are also a distribution center to support business growth by fulfilling orders to your customers from our warehouse, making sure customers receive their products on time. We are inviting all Black-owned businesses to trade on our platform because we strongly believe Africans have a unique brand the customer would appreciate globally. So get in touch today and let us make your product and business go far. Here are some of the benefits of using Gabby Dave Global. User-friendly platform, track your shipment, online support, transparent process, multiple SKUs, multiple products, a platform that encourages manufacturers as well as traders. Our marketing and PR interventions amplifies yours. Organized products and categories for easy access and navigation. Access to global community, especially within UK and Europe.
with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Check me out. He tells me my energy is making him tired.
Yes!
How do you get the energy to do
I've been told that I have a lot of energy, but my goodness, I think today I have met my match, people. I have met my match, Miss Suzanne. Wow, amazing.
One of the things that's the start of the darkness. Of darkness.
So what did that
Myself and the world will adjust. And 2019,
Forget the proverbial boardroom. Join me, Simone Frazier, on The CEO, the program that gives you the driving seat over your life. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only on Starr Radio.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour Show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour Show is your best source into the property industry.
The best radio show. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world. In your car,
At work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK. Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Your heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. Hey, this is Archie and you are listening to Starr Radio UK and the Morning Show.
Lean out on
not optimistic, what will you be? Will you be pessimistic with everything that is happening around us in the world? Some way, somehow, being an optimist helps you to go on. Some will call it having the faith. Some will say, we'll call it the glass being half full. But some way, somehow, if it keeps you moving, it keeps you going, why not? But I don't know, let me say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, wherever you might be on planet Earth. And once again, welcome to the Monday edition of the morning show. Today is the 27th day of June, the year 2022. With the time now 10:43 from the hearts of London. And let me say good morning to all presenters on Starr Radio UK, management, and all of you there. And a special good morning to the team this morning, Mr. Olayomi, HR Rachel in the Pallian. All the way in Cyprus, and the one and only Mr. Francis Guy in the house. Every producer working behind the scenes quietly. To Mr. Frank Davis also working behind the scenes. I salute each and every one of you. But do me a massive favor, share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Playing in the background, something from Nana Manuel says it will happen. Well, let me say good morning also to Sam Sudin Oladipopo. Say we Yoruba, we need Yoruba Nation. Okay. And Bolaji Salami, good morning to you as well. All calling for Yoruba Nation. Okay, good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope you all had a very nice weekend, whatever nice might be. Someone would say having a cup of tea, or having some salad, or having some wache, or having some eba, or having some achekenapaya. The person might term that as happiness, but someone will say happiness is subjective. Well, so depending on whatever you define as happiness, I hope that you had a happy or a good weekend. But once again, welcome to the show. I remain yours sincerely, the one and only
Archie.
And I'm saying good morning to Felix all the way in Aberdeen, Mr. Kavia Ali Abdul Yakin, my lovely, wonderful listeners all across the globe, especially those of you in the US, or the Americans as I call it. Those of you in Europe, those of you in Asia, those of you in Australia, those of you on the African continent, especially in Nigeria, Ghana, Uganda, Gambia, South Africa, all you wonderful people there. I salute each and every one of you. I welcome you once again to the Monday edition of the morning show. Now, if it's the first time of tuning in to listen to us on this program, this is how the program goes. I'm going to bring you the quote for the day, the weather forecast will follow suit, then the travel update as well. We're going to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe, known as Global Trotting. Then after that, we continue at 11 o'clock with updates from Nigeria. Well, we'll be having Mr. Olayomi bringing you updates from Nigeria. Then we'll move on from there, have a look at all the other stories making the rounds across the globe. From archaeology to zoology, from Accra to Zanzibar, as I say all the time, it's making the headlines. Why not? We're going to touch on it. So we continue from there. The lines are open at 12 o'clock for you to add your voice to the discussions. But before then, if you have any comments or anything of this to say, you can put it on our Facebook page as others have done, and I promise I'm going to read that. Also, you can post it on our YouTube channel as well, and I'll read that as well. Or any of the social media platforms that we are transmitting on. Okay, then at 12:30, I take you straight to Cyprus, where we have the one and only HRH Linda Pallian to bring you Career 101. Then after that, the cases are brought down for the end of the program exactly at 1 o'clock. So in a gist, that's what's going to be happening to you today. So if you're standing, hold on to something. If you are sitting, sit very comfortably. Get yourself a hot or cold drink, whichever is appropriate. And let's go on this journey. With Archie in the helm, you are sure of a safe arrival. And to every one of you celebrating your birthdays today as well, let me say a massive giant to our Ghanaians will say happy birthday to you. Whatever celebration that you were having over the weekend as well, may God continue to bless you, and I hope that you enjoyed it. Now, the quote of the day says, success will always be with you if you choose humanity, knowledge, responsibility, fairness, and selfishness as your allies. How true is that? Well, so that's by way of the quote for the day. Now, how is the weather like this morning? Interestingly, we're supposed to be having some rains this morning. Over the weekend, there was supposed to be rains whilst I was traveling, and then I was praying that the rains don't come. Fortunately, what happened was a bit of drizzle, and we were cool with that. You know, when you're driving on the motorways, you don't want rains there, do you? All the splash and all that stuff, you know. All right, the vibes was all good, but let me tell you what is happening today on the weather front. Now, some lingering showers to start this afternoon, heavy and thundery in places, but cloud will slowly dissipate, and plenty of sunny spells will develop later. Now, this evening will be largely dry with just a few patchy cloud lingering in places overnight, and the cloud will clear and clear skies will become more widespread. A rather mild night expected as well. Now, when it comes to the temperature is going to be 20 degrees, the lower is going to be 11 degrees. Pollen level is going to be high, UV level is going to be moderate, and pollution is going to be low. Sunset 21, 22, and sunrise for tomorrow morning 04:45 hours. That is all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. It's now time for the 9. Let's cross straight after this short commercial break, and let me bring you the travel update.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Check it out. Keep your eyes on the road.
This is Radio UK.
Okay, so keep your eyes on the roads. Keep your eyes on the roads. I'll keep you navigated. I promise I'll be on the Starr Radio UK travel update. I can see every weekday from 10:40. Okay, it's now 10:49, or call it 10:50 now. We're on the underground this morning. Let me start from there. Good service throughout assured, landing trembling, landing overground, DLR, all good service. Now moving on straight to the major roads in London as well. Now A4, A41, and North Circular A406 and South Circular A205 have all got closures there. So if you can avoid them, do your best to avoid them. Now let's move on to the river bus. On the river bus, apart from the Woolwich Ferry that's got special service, all the others have got good service. So the good one there. Now moving on straight to the final segment of the travel update, as the National Rail. On the National Rail this morning, First How Trains has got severe delays. First Transpennine Express special service, Grand Central severe delays, Great Northern severe delays, London North Eastern Railway severe delays, and ScotRail special service. Thameslink has also got severe delays. Now if you can avoid those, do your best to avoid them, but if you can't and you're still stuck in there, continue to just listen to what, as and when there are any changes, I promise you I'll bring you to the fore. But on that note, let me say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your commute for today, but you know what, continue to keep those eyes on the roads.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Vedasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Welcome back to the program Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Bringing the time now to 7 minutes to the top of the hour, and it's time for Global Trotting. So wherever you are, don't you go away. Let's go Global Trotting. What is happening from across the globe? In Nigeria, where we'll be looking into details are some of the stories making the rounds, as Mr. Olayomi has posted for us. Now, Tinubu departs from Nigeria for France. APC reveals only man that can help Tinubu defeat Atiku. And who is that only man? We're going to be looking into that story as well. Now, Peter Obi Group speaks on Tinubu's certificate saga. We'll be looking into those stories as well. It's all coming your way from Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, running mate APC Group recommends one person that can help Tinubu. As I did say earlier on, those are some of the stories that have been captured. The most I submitted dummy running mate to INEC. Still searching for right candidates. That's what everybody is saying. African politics. Well, if I were the INEC, I would have disqualified him from the word go for selling a dummy running mate. Now, some other story making the rounds there as well. Peter Obi has low electoral value. Kwankwaso won't be his running mate. Mumin Jibrin is saying. So a lot more going to be coming from there. Don't you go away at all. Now moving on to other parts of Africa as well to have a look at some of the stories making the round. Gabi hints at IMF bailout as E-Levy delivers only 10% of the 600 million Ghana cedis target. Well, they were all just rampant. Yeah, E-Levy, Bush. Now people decided to now use other means to transact their businesses or to do their cash transfers. Okay, so now this what is happening here is that well, it looks like the government has to fall on the IMF for a bailout. Was it last week when we're having a chat, and then the former, why do I want to call them chancellor? Okay, the Minister for Finance and Economic Planning, Dr. Dufo at the time, the former, yes, did say that, well, Ghana should go, or the government of Ghana should go to the IMF to go seek for help. But they have to be good negotiators, telling them that not just going to be sacking your workers and stuff like that. You need to go down with them and put your plans that this is what we want to do and this is what we can attain at this particular time, and so this is what we need. And once you go with something in hand, you'll be able to be given something that will not actually impact your nation negatively. And he said that whilst he was a minister of finance and all that, he also undertook those measures and it helped the country. Well, what about that? Okay, we'll be looking more into that. Kufuor's loyal son comment positive for Baumia's campaign. Ben Efson is saying no fuel shortage looming, we have enough. MPA says, well, where is it then? Okay, if Premix fuel is on shortage in the country. Okay, Kufuor's minister caught in conflict of interest there. We'll be looking into that. And then some other story. Okay, just bear with me while some of the stories load up. Okay. All right then. MPP internal race, Northern Regional Delegates endorse Dr. Charles Dramina. For what position? I'll be telling you more on that front in a moment. And some other stories still making the rounds in Ghana as well. Osafo Mafu advised Akufo-Addo against the completion of Buankra Inland Port. Bantama youth alleges. Whoa. So why? Is it going to benefit them positively, or is it negatively, or is it something that can be, withheld for some time before it's completed? What do you think about all that? We'll be looking more into that in a moment, but it's all coming your way from Star Radio UK. The Akufo-Addo I knew is not the one I see now. Nyaho Tamaklo says, well, you know Nyaho, yeah, he's making all those statements. And Dumsa gave me sleepless night. John Mahama confesses. Well, of course, if you are the leader of the country and the power that will help industries and all the other organizations to be able to, do whatever they have to do, and then you can get your taxes are not working. There is doomsaw every now and then what do you expect? Well, you will be quavering in your boots. Now, Egypt tribesman over murder of student who refused advances. And there are times I ask myself this question: when a man tries to woo a woman, and maybe the woman say, nah, I don't want to. And these people, some men take it the wrong way, and they decide to, why are you rejecting me? I don't know people like that. How do they face that rejection? What are they doing? Okay, groups in Morocco and Spain push for inquiry after border theft. Those are some of the stories making the rounds there. And then one final, a couple of stories more. Zelensky's address G7 as Russian missiles hit cities. Now, this morning we have information coming through that Russian missiles have actually hit Kiev again, the capital. Now, are they now on a different path now? We finished with the eastern part of Ukraine, the Donbass region, and now they are now coming to the capital for what? Well. When would all this stop? This and a lot more we're going to be looking at in the next few moments. But one other sad story, a serious one, of course. Barristers walk out of courts over pay. Dominic Raab urged barristers to agree the pay rise, but there are concerns junior lawyers will still leave. The question is, if inflation is gone up to 9.1%, and people are saying that, well, whatever they are making is not good enough, and they think that, well, we want a rise. You say you're going to give them 3%. They ask you, how do we get that other 6% to make up? And government seems to be saying that we're not going to be going that way. Well, some are saying that, look, we're going to be seeing lots of demonstrations, strike actions looming over this summer period. But do you think that's going to happen? A lot more going to be coming your way. It is Starr Radio UK. Will the Prime Minister be there in the next 2 terms? He says that, look, I'll be going on 3rd term, 4th term. He'll be going on. He will be the indefunctible Prime Minister, the one who never changes. Yes, he'll still remain the same. All right, this is a lot more going to be looking at in the next few moments. But stay with me. Enjoy this song whilst we get ourselves ready to bring you updates from Nigeria. by the Crafted Nation. CC Bedu featuring Essential J. Coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Like I said, we'll be having Mr. Olayomi joining us in a few moments. Well, some breaking news that is coming through. Justice Tanko Muhammad resigns as CJN, Chief Justice of Nigeria. Well, Justice Tanko Muhammad has resigned as the Chief Justice of Nigeria. Citing sources, channels television confirmed that he resigned on Sunday night on the grounds of ill health. At least he's decided that, look, I need to step down or resign. There are others who go on and on and on and on and on until they kick the bucket in office. Well, we wish him the best. That whatever it is, he will get the best of treatment. And then yeah, if you can come back to it or do other stuff, or take things easy. Well, it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. Enjoy the rest of the music whilst we wait for Olayomi Koiki to join in. Stay tuned. So Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. I'll take you a bit into the spirit for this morning, of course. Even now, it doesn't matter how the challenges or all the negativity and everything. As I said earlier on, somewhere, somehow, you have to be optimistic to get things done. Well, so though you're fighting or climbing a hill and you see that, well, it's treacherous, it's so difficult to do it. You don't give in, you don't give out, you don't throw in the towel because of the challenges that you're facing, but you try to still prod on, as my brother Felix will say, and somewhere, somehow you get there. But it's now gone 7 minutes past the top of the hour, the Monday edition of the morning show, and I've got my colleague Mr. Olayomi Koiki all the way in our North London studios who has joined in. And let me say massive good morning to you, Yomi.
Well, it is a very beautiful good morning to you back in the studio. Good morning to all our viewers. Good morning to all our listeners from around the globe. And we welcome you once again to the 27th day of June 2022. 7 minutes past. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London, and this is where you can get all the news, especially when it comes from Nigeria. I'm going to be telling you a little bit more about that image that is behind me in the due process of this program. It's just about 700 years old of a Yoruba kingdom bronze that has now become between the UK government, the antique dealer that bought it for €200 in Belgium. It was stolen in 1987. 700 years old. I'm going to be telling us a little bit more about that. But for now, I say good morning, and I'll come back slightly again to you in the studio.
Yes. How are you doing, sir?
Good to be back, after a very brilliant weekend. I'm going to be telling you more about that as well. Because there was, I'm sure you're aware about the Windrush. They had a very big event at Burgess Park in London, where we also attended as well. And if I just share a little bit of myself in one of the London Metropolitan Police vehicle, which is right there, quite a lot of people were a little bit shocked, especially those that are following us, thinking maybe we were arrested by the officer, myself and one of my colleagues, my uncle, that we went down there. But I can tell everybody that we are fine and safe. It is just how it is done when there's a big festival in UK. We do have emergency services there. They do come in there and promote what we know as community engagement, and that was exactly why I was inside one of the most it's my first time of being inside a London Metropolitan, and this is one of their BMW that drives around. I'm sure most people must have seen them in UK. Yesterday we were in Luton again for the Yoruba Awareness Street Evangelism. All that means that my weekend was fully packed. But I'm back again this morning with you, Mr. Archie. I spoke to Frank myself over the weekend, and I'm sure he's working very tirelessly behind the scene. But for now, I'm going to just also leave that image of that sculpture that we'll be talking about later on this morning as well.
Yes, listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, and how his weekend was over the weekend. Now, how was yours? Share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages as well. It's now time for us to bring you what is happening across Nigeria at the moment. But let's talk a bit about this bronze, because somebody just signed in or joined in and was like, okay, what is this bronze all about? And how important are these artifacts to Africa, and in this particular instance to the Yoruba people, and your agitation, or yes, that is going on at the moment?
Well, actually, before I traveled, yesterday, to Luton, these, image was brought in by, the BBC on their website, and I'm going to give us a bit of a background about it. It's not shock to some of us, but maybe to some it could be shock. But what you are actually witnessing there is a Nigerian Ile-Ife that has now become why the UK police are holding a priceless sculpture. This is a 700 years old Ife bronze between what was sold by the Belgium authority, in Belgium in 2007. So let me just quickly give a summary about that. Like I said, this headline came from the UK, media that we all know, known as the BBC, almost a day ago. But I saw that yesterday. So it caused the headline: Nigeria Ife Head, why UK police are holding a priceless sculpture. And this is what it goes. British police are keeping a stolen statue worth millions of dollars in their custody as a dispute rages between a Belgian antique dealer and a Nigerian museum over its ownership. On the 24th of January 2017 was a cold, foggy day when someone walked into Willie and Willie's auction office in Mayfair wanting to sell this particular sculpture. The person, the auctioneer, saw this and right there knew that this bronze cast head was coming from Ife, which is Ile-Ife, where we are also yesterday attending a lot of events. I saw one of our very powerful royal king, the owner of Ife. From Ife, a Yoruba kingdom in what is today known as the southwestern Nigeria. Originally, Ife bronze head of which only 20 of these is still surviving as we speak right now, are thought to be 700 years old. So how did this end up in UK is the question that I'm sure a lot of people would like to know. The original one that we're talking about is the one behind me. It's got a bit of damage, and the damage was due to the fact that when it was being shipped out of Nigeria in 1987 after it was stolen in the museum in Jos. It was stolen, end up in the Switzerland, and then somebody wanted to sell it for $500,000 Swiss, but it was returned back to Nigeria around 1999 until it surfaced again back. When it was stolen in 1987, it was reported to the United Nations Cultural Organization, UNESCO, as other item that was stolen. But the question again was, why then, the item found its way back to Belgium authority that then sold it as somebody that wanted to buy a vehicle, and then you could just buy the vehicle as somebody, a government property that is being auctioned. This item was then auctioned for €200, which is under 170 pounds. And the question then is, the Belgium authority have refused to give details of how this item end up in their own possession and then being sold in the auction, for peanut. And then the owner that bought it now is in dispute with the Nigerian government, saying, "I will only pay. You will only have to pay €5 million for me to return, the ownership of it." The police are saying that this is now a case between where the Nigerian government must have a conversation with this individual so that this item could be returned back to Nigeria. So since 2019, 5 years now, this Ile-Ife, a Yoruba, a powerful sculpture that was made about 700 years old, is now in the United Kingdom, is not yet returned to Nigeria. The person that bought it from Belgium, the antique dealer, is saying, okay, I will take 33,000. It was even, according to the journalist that wrote this article, and this is what he had to say. On the 14th of November 2007, the Belgium authority held an auction of confiscated art item. Among the lot was this Ife bronze. It was bought by a local antique dealer for a princely sum of €200. These extraordinary sales raised three obvious questions. How did this stolen treasure came into the hands of the Belgium authorities? Why did they let it go? And did the dealer know it was buying one of the African greatest masterpiece? Let me come back again to you in the studio. This has become a mind-blowing. I actually got a call from one of a prince that lives here in UK, and he says they are aware of this, and this has been ongoing as so many artifacts are here in the United Kingdom and most other European countries. The question then again to the Yoruba people is, it proves that the Yoruba kingdom has been in existence before the name coin Nigeria came in place after the amalgamation in 1914.
Well, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. The question is, if somebody goes to buy a stolen goods and the person is arrested, do you say, look, I bought it at this price, so just give it to me? They'll tell you that you bought a stolen goods, and therefore you don't get anything. You don't take time, even you'll be imprisoned for that as well. But how would this pan out for the Yoruba people? We're going to be following it very, very closely. Very, very closely. Now, let me ask you one question. That you didn't talk about the fact that this proves that the Yoruba nation existed before all this Nigeria and the formation or the amalgamation of the various nations to make it Nigeria. Okay. Now, so do Yorubas actually want all these things back, these artifacts back, and would that actually unite you? Would that how does that actually impact your quest to gain that freedom? How does it actually impact you? Let me ask you that.
Well, a lot of the Yorubas, I was actually reading, the interview of the Yoruba leader, Professor Banji Akintoye, this morning, and I'm going to touch maybe a little bit around that when we come to some of the headline. The question you ask is, how does this impact? The 1914 amalgamation, brought in different tribes, different individuals together, and then it was put out there. And the question is there unity in Nigeria after the amalgamation? has there been peace in Nigeria? This particular item, a lot of people that have contacted me says they will still rather want it to be in the country until a Yoruba nation is achieved, and then they can take it back. Because when it go back to Nigeria, just as it went back, after its surface in 1999 or thereabout, and then it was returned back to Nigeria, but all of a sudden it surfaced back again in Belgium in 2007, and the Belgium authority has refused, to give how it came into their own possession. The question again is the 1914 amalgamation. Yes, there are some few documents around it, but when we talk about the Yoruba kingdom, the Yoruba people, these particular bronze now prove that the Yoruba kingdom was in existence before Nigeria name was brought in 1914.
Okay. Yes, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK updates from Nigeria with Mr. Olayomi in our North London studios. I'm Archie in the Starr studios here, and we're going to be looking at some of the other stories. But if you're listening to us or watching us for the first time, this program comes your way every weekday, and the updates from Nigeria comes on. It's from 11 a.m. Okay, and that's why we have Mr. Olayomi on now. So share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones, and invite them to like our pages. Anthony Adedeji, massive good morning to you. I hope that you had a very nice weekend. Okay, now let's move on to some of the other stories that is making the rounds, and then there are a few others that now Chief Judge, the breaking news. I've been trying to see whether I can find it, but Justice Tanko Mohammed has resigned over ill health. Who is the Chief Justice now? Yes, give us a background to it and how it impacts the government at the moment.
Well, who is the Chief Justice himself? Remember last week we were talking about the Chief Justice traveling outside the country with his family, and while the other judges were not given the same opportunity. Chief Justice of Nigeria, also known as the CJN, is the head of the judicial arm of the government of Nigeria and presides over the country's Supreme Court and the National Judicial Council. His being brought in was a very, very complicated one, because the previous Chief Judge that was removed while he was brought in created a lot of what we could call the issue again around ethnicity, whether somebody is really capable, or maybe the government was just taking off certain particular tribe to bring in a particular tribe, as we've always seen that happening in most of the the parastatals in Nigeria, whether the armed force, the judicial and the rest of it. So why is he resigning is the question, because this is just a breaking news that I've just as we were coming into this conversation this morning. From what we know, is now resigning on the ground of ill health. There has not been when contacted the special advisor of the media and communication to the CGN, and Kuraka Yusuf Issa said, all I know is that he's going to open a workshop this morning at the National Judicial Institute. So we still have to wait to see who will take over should these actually become a full resignation. Following the resignation, Justice Olukoya Ariwo will be the next acting Chief Justice of Nigeria. Again, the question is, will this government take in the next person in line, or will somebody have to retire so that the next person of a different ethnic groups will be allowed to take place? Because that is actually what happens in Nigeria. If the next ethnic person is coming out from another tribe, like maybe the southeast, the southwest, or the middle belt, they tend not to get into that position. And for those that have been following Nigeria for a very long time, I would say that also means that this is why some are saying that the unity of Nigeria is not there.
Now, interestingly, whilst you were touching on that, then last Friday when we were looking at, or last week, I've forgotten which time, whether the Thursday or the Wednesday, when we're looking at what has happened, why the Chief Justice had traveled out of the country with his family, and other people in the judiciary have not been allowed that. Then it just clicked that it might be how severe his ailment might be. That is why he had to travel out of the country with his family, because who knows exactly what is happening. But do you think that is the reason? I mean, looking at how I captured it now, that's why he was allowed, because he might be the same person who say no member of the judiciary should travel out of the country for various causes, but he has done so. Is it because of the seriousness of his ill health?
Well, it could be because what we do know is that most of them quietly travel out of the country, to get proper medical treatment out of Nigeria. It won't be the first time. Even the president himself have been out of Nigeria so many times, to receive medical treatment. So the question is, maybe he has weighed, maybe his doctors have told him that it's better to take a bit of short break, out of politics, out of government, out of what he loves to do, because we all understand when it comes to health issues, we can't joke with our health, and when the health tells you that you have to definitely slow down, you will definitely have to slow down. So I believe maybe that is the reason why. But we will get more information, I'm sure, within the next couple of days, regarding this particular news that is just breaking out of Nigeria today.
Well, listeners, we wish the former Chief Justice a speedy recovery, whatever it is that he will get the necessary attention that he needs to get. Okay, so Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Some other stories coming through. Reverend Father Vitus Borugo have been killed by terrorists on Saturday. How true is that? And who is Reverend Father Borugo?
Well, this weekend, just as so many weekends and so many days in Nigeria, could be what we call "May Nigeria Never Happen to You." We actually can confirm that 2 priests were killed over the weekend, and I'll be giving us a bit of background, to these 2 individuals. Once again, this is Starr Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, again, there's a breaking news that is coming. Justice Olukayode Ariwola will be sworn in later today, June 27, 2022, as the next Chief Justice of Nigeria after the sudden resignation of Justice Tanko Mohammed from the exalted judicial position. So it is now confirmation that there will be a new Chief Justice of Nigeria. Tanko has finally resigned from being the Chief Justice of Nigeria. So that is now a confirmation. So that's the breaking news. Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. So let's go back to the news that you were actually talking about regarding the killings of what we know as those that got caught up yesterday. It is not just one person. There was also another person known as Catholic priest Father Christopher Osir, who was earlier reported to have been kidnapped early hours of yesterday, have also been found dead. We're going to bring up his picture in just about a minute, and likewise the one that you talked about, which is again the Father Irobo.
Yeah.
So this then takes us back to is Nigeria really safe as it is, or as we've been told presently? A lot of Nigerians will tell you that Nigeria is no longer safe. I was in Luton, like I said yesterday, and almost everyone we engaged, there was a particular business that I don't want to mention. That is one of the person that got killed yesterday by the terrorists in Nigeria, Catholic Reverend Father that was killed in Edo State, by the terrorists. He was actually on his way to the church. Remember, almost coming up to 4 weeks ago, we also lost a particular numbers of people that were killed at St. Francis Catholic Church in Owo, southwest Nigeria as well. Until now, nobody has literally been arrested for that. So we're going to bring the second picture of the father that was also killed. It shows that just as I was saying, when I was engaging those that we met in Luton, a particular business owner that is also setting up one in Atlanta, we will probably not want to mention the name of the business, for security reason, said he does not want to have anything at all to do with Nigeria. I did ask him why, and some of those reasons is Nigeria is no longer safe. It has become a no-go area for himself and his family, and he would rather stay away from Nigeria for now. That is also, and that right there, the next picture you're looking right there behind the camera is the second individual that was killed So we actually lost 2 Catholic priests to the hands of the terrorists yesterday in Nigeria.
Wow. Listeners, it is Star Radio UK. As Yomi said, well, that's why we always on the program said, I mean, Nigeria never happened to you. I mean, we go for anytime we're going for weekend. I just pray that, oh gosh, will not come the following week to hear that, well, these people have been abducted, this number of people have been abducted. But well, until there are changes in the security apparatus of the country and the government is seeing to actually protecting the citizens, we will always be pessimistic when it comes to security. But it is Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, they offer Sunday Igboho billions of naira to forgo the Yoruba nation agitation. Igboho turned it down. Sunday Igboho told them that the Yoruba nation is the most valuable currency on the planet. Who is speaking? And who offered him that? How true is that?
Well, that is a confirmation that cannot be denied, because the federal government, tried everything. When Chief Sunday Igboho was held down in Benin Republic, the Chief of Staff, Buratai, visited him 3 times, and they wanted to convince him, to forgo Yoruba nation, and then he'll probably be given money on whatever he needs. He did turn it down. And that particular write-up was brought up by one of our very strong individuals on the social media, known as Ifa Funshaw at Funshaw Graphics, that they offered him everything and he turned it down. And again, just as it would link us to the next conversation, Northern governors' interest in Tinubu is not a genuine one, may ditch him for Atiku. This is Professor Banji Akintoye, the leader of the Yoruba Self-Determination Ilana Omo Oodua, was speaking at an interview that was granted to one of the paper in Nigeria. 87-year-old leader of the Yoruba Self-Determination Group Ilana Omo Oodua, again, moved from Nigeria to Benin Republic shortly before the arrest and the detention of the leading arrow of the Yoruba Nation campaign, Chief Sunday Adeyemo Igboho. Both of them are still in Benin Republic, as we know, but what we can say is, when the question was thrown to him about the ongoing of the Yoruba self-determination, how has your group struggled for self-determination of the Yoruba so far? This is a response from Professor Banji Akintoye. It has been as one would expect, because we are trying to take a nation out of another. It cannot be easy. It has not been easy. Personally, for me and the people closest to me, like Professor Wale Adeniran, who is my deputy in Ilana Omo Oodua, it has been dangerous at times, which we all know. In the next couple of days, it will be 1 year that the federal government wanted to assassinate Chief Sunday Adeyemo Igboho in his house. Animals were killed, 2 individuals were killed, a lot of people were moved out of the compound, and some spent up to 4 months in the captivity of the DSS. So it could be sometimes dangerous, according to Professor Banji Akintoye, because we are dealing with a cultural setting in which killing people is a commonplace. We've just told you that 2 priests were killed in Nigeria, 22 farmers were kidnapped in the FCT capital, from their farm, and up to now, nobody's hearing anything about where they are. We knew, this is Professor Banji Akintoye speaking now, we knew from the beginning that we could get killed in this struggle. But the question is, do we hold on to our lives and let our people continue to get killed the way they are being killed, and let the Yoruba nation perish the way it is likely to perish if no intervention occurs? So we decided to risk everything when the people who are inclined and used to killings decided to threaten us directly. We decided that for this struggle to continue, we must move. So that is one of the reasons why they have to move for their own lives. But as you can see, that an 87-year-old man saying that he would rather do everything to protect, the interest, the identity, the cultural, and the views of those that are Yoruba people, as against the views of the Fulani terrorists that is now all capturing every part of Nigeria on a daily basis. People are captured. Remember, we told you about the pharmacist that was kidnapped last week. About 4.5 million naira have now been paid for his release. That is almost about 4,000 pounds. And the question is, can someone this morning easily give somebody 1,000 pounds when your salary itself is £1,200.
Well, listeners, is it Starr Radio UK? As we say, yes, may Nigeria not happen to you. But there's some other lessons that I wanted to find out about Professor Akintoye and all that, and looking at the stance by the northern leaders or the northerners who Professor Akintoye is saying that, look, they are going to shun Tinubu, or we think that Tinubu because he's a Muslim, so they are going to support him, and because they're trying to cede the presidency to the south, and therefore, but he sees that, look, this is what is going to happen there. Now, Tinubu has not yet gotten his running mate, has he?
Well, he hasn't got his running mate, and I'm going to come back to that. But this is what the response of what Professor Banji Akintoye had to say. When the question was put out to him, and this is the question, there are feelers that the candidacy of the All Progressive Congress presidential candidate, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the APC presidential aspirant, a Yoruba man as well, with a lot of followers, as also a two-time governor of Lagos State, will whittle down the agitation for the Yoruba nation. How will you react to this? This is his reaction. Then we come back to what who Tinubu will be using, because there's still a lot of rankling around that. That is understandable. He is one of us, and we have people who think, let's try this one, whether it will perform. Let's see whether this one will bring some good result. Naturally, this is Professor Banji Akintoye speaking. We expect that, but we were also able to look in depth at the level that an ordinary citizen would not be able to look. For instance, why did the northern governors suddenly turn around to say they were supporting Tinubu? They turned around after Atiku Abubakar emerged as the candidate of the People's Democratic Party. Up to that point, they were saying that they didn't recognize the rotational presidency, and there was nothing like rotational presidency. But when Atiku was nominated, the next hour, they said they supported the southern candidate, Tinubu. So there is something hidden in that. A lot of people don't know it. But when we look at it, we know that the interest of the northern governors in Tinubu candidacy is not genuine. It is not honest. What they have decided to do is to give Tinubu the nomination, then support their brother Atiku in the PDP. That is where they will migrate to, and give him, Atiku, the victory, and that is what's going to happen. So it is not worth giving up the Yoruba nation struggle for that purpose. And then coming back to the situation of where Tinubu will be picking up his his own running mate from. The headline this morning is running mate, Northwest Northeast fight over the slot. I am still searching. According to him, there are indications that the northern governors of the APC from the Northwest, the Northeast, are divided over the choice of a sustainable running mate for the party candidacy, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. This, as the former governor yesterday revealed that he is still searching for his running mate for the 2023 presidential election. The development is coming in the wake of controversy over Tinubu's claim that also he has lost his academic certificate in the submission for INEC. It looks like we now have another presidential candidate, just as Buhari. We couldn't find Buhari's certificate. Tinubu certificate is no longer something that we can find, because if we find it, it might also bring a different age of who he is.
How true is that? Well, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. When it comes to African politics, you can get all the drama there. Okay, but let me acknowledge a couple of people who have joined us on the YouTube channel as well. Arise and Shine TV, Aji Folarin. Yeah, it says, Koiki Eku Ise O. God will bless you in Jesus' mighty name. And then Michael Ade says, good morning, Koiki and Archie. And then Sahid Abiodun says, Yoruba Nation now, no going back there. Now, if you're watching us on Facebook, you want to put your comments, and feel free to do so. And I promise you, I'm going to read all that. But it is the Monday edition of the morning show, Updates from Nigeria, which Mr. Olayomi Koiki, that is going on. So we'll go to Yomi for some of the other stories making the rounds. It's 11:37. Over to you, Yomi.
Well, it's going to be happening again in London tomorrow, where the IPOB, followers of Nnamdi Kanu all over the world will be coming out for what we've known as a peaceful, mega rally, in support. As every time Nnamdi Kanu is taken to the court, the whole of Southeast goes on what they call key and lock. And yesterday, tomorrow, he will be, be taken to the court again for the ongoing case. Remember that Buhari spoke about Nnamdi Kanu issue when he met with Boris Johnson in Kigali in Rwanda, where again Buhari says that there's no way he will be granting bail to Nnamdi Kanu. Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer speaks on Buhari's comment on IPOB, and this is what they have to say, and that will take us to some of the other headlines as well. Again, this is Star Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer speaks on Buhari's comment on IPOB leader. Mr. Ejiofor described Buhari's comment as careless, mischievous, and utterly false. We do know that Buhari himself, just as he was able to kidnap rendition Nnamdi Kanu, tried that while he was a military dictator in 1984 when they wanted to kidnap Umaru Diko, but that was actually stopped. But it seems Ifeanyi Ejimakor, the lead counsel to the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, has faulted President Muhammadu Buhari's comment on Nnamdi Kanu court trial. A lot of people say the president do not have the right to determine how Nnamdi Kanu will be bailed, because that is left for the court to decide, not the president. So it seems also that the legal department of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has also responded to that. And again, he also suggested that the IPOB leader will still jump bail if he will be granted bail. This is Buhari saying that. He insists that he must defend himself in the court. Mr. Ejiofor described Buhari's comment as careless, mischievous, and utterly false. He said the comment have confirmed the president's alleged partisan stance on the matter. The lawyer insisted that Nnamdi Kanu did not jump bail, but was compelled to flee the country after his Afara Ukwa residence was invaded by the Nigerian security force in 2017, just as they invaded Chief Sunday Igboho's house. And the question I asked during Niger Voices last week was, should the government have killed Chief Sunday Igboho last year? Will the government have come out to say, we were there, we killed him, and but I'm sure they wouldn't have said that. So that is the response from the legal department of Nnamdi Kanu. Let me go quickly because of time constraint, and then we come back to you. I'm going to go straight from there. A very sad one, as couples have to faint after 3 of their children drowned in the pool. What a very sad loss, for such a family. According to what we know, husband and wife had gone for an event when the children left their house to swim in the pool. As of the time of filing this, which was yesterday, surrounding the tragedy were very still sketchy. It was, however, learned that some residents, including security members on the estate, found the children lying motionless in the pool. Again, while I was in Luton yesterday, we had opportunity to speak to the president, a Yoruba boy, that is now the president of one of the university in Luton, and he talked about regulation. We asked him if we could bring one of our cultural events when they're having their next event. He said, well, as long as there's a rules, there's regulation, and the health and safety. So it's not just we can just go in there and perform our lovely Egungun or Eyo festival in any university campus. They're also concerned about the regulation, the health and safety. So the question is, where was the guide to have been there, making sure that when everybody's going into that pool, there's somebody there to rescue them? What a very big loss to this family that lost 3 children in one go. Aregbesola Oyetola Camp says no to reconciliation yet. Aregbesola was the former governor of Osun State. Oyetola is the current governor that is also going to be going into an election very soon. And there's a lot of tussle between both sides. Let's quickly touch on Ike Ikerimadu. We know that the Nigerian immigration is also saying that the young boy is not 15 as claimed, he's 21 years old, because they have all the details how he collected the passport. Immigration dismissed organ donors under rage claim Ebonyi Dixon back Ikerimadu. I'm not sure why they are already jumping on a case that is here in UK. Why not let the UK authority do all their investigation? If Ike Ikerimadu is found not guilty as alleged to an organ transplant, he will be returned back to Nigeria with his wife. But it seems as usual, the bandwagons all over the world, especially in Nigeria, are already saying a lot, but nobody have the full details because the young boy, nobody knew him until the surface of this case. So let us all wait, as we will do here in UK. But the Nigerian Immigration Service has stated that it followed due process in issuing a Nigerian passport. There are so many Fulani terrorists that are holding Nigerian passport. I would say the Nigerian immigration should allow the court of law here in UK to deal with the issue, because all over the world, Nigerians are not able to get passports, but the terrorists that have invaded our country have got passport that we have evidence of. So telling us that a passport was issued to somebody, anybody can get a passport. Even here in UK, there's a lot of fraudulent process where people pay money before you can get your passport. So getting a passport in Nigeria of today does not prove anything of who or the age of the young boy. So according to us here in UK, we will still say an alleged organ harvesting by the former Deputy Senate President Ike Kerimadu and his wife Beatrice. Let us allow the court of law, where Starr Radio UK will be back there, as we were there on Friday. We'll be back on the 7th of July when it will be brought again to the court. I'm going to go straight to the social media because of the time constraint. We only have just about 5 minutes left. And I say again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. As now, there's a lot of trending at number 6. As you can tell, Chief Justice of Nigeria is trending. I'm just going to take one out of what is trending on Nigeria this morning on the social media, and then we can come back to you in the studio. Again, Igbo land is conquered region. See how the Fulani terrorist soldiers discredited scarce shrine of ancestors. No region in Nigeria that Fulani will do this, and some youth from Igbo will suffer from astigmatism. Continue shouting Igbo president. This is coming from Nelson Spending. So I think what happened was over the weekend again, Nigerian military went into shrines, and they say that is the ESN that they are looking for, and continue to kill innocent people in the southeast of Nigeria. Robert Spencer, Nigeria, Muslim gunned down Catholic priest is the headline. Robert Spencer is a director of the Jihad Watch, author of 23 books, many bestsellers, The Truth About Muhammad. He very critics, especially when it comes to the killings of innocent Christians around the globe. So his headline there says it seems a lot of Nigerians. So I'm going to take one from Ifa Fonsho again this morning. You are lamenting on Sir KB, Patami, Malami, El Rufai, jihadist mindset, yet you want to share a country with them. Is there sense in that? Question mark. Instead of you guys to give your support to Mazina and Dekanu, Chief Sunday Igboho on self-determination, you are there crying like a baby for one Nigeria. Starr Radio UK, it is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London, and that is the update. And I'll come back slightly again to you in the studio.
Well, listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koiki for you, bringing you all the updates that you need to know when it comes to Nigeria. Okay, because we know our time is fast spent, so let's let me acknowledge Adiza Oluwa Aziz is a Yoruba nation now. It's what we want. Okay, and Fatai Rafiu says, bro Koiki, it is well with you. Thank you very much, Fatai. Continue to share the broadcast. And those of you on the YouTube, subscribe to our pages. And every time we are on, you won't miss a thing there. You have the prompt and then you can be on as well. But before we round up the program, now 1 dies, 10 injured on Abeokuta Sagamu Express auto crash. We don't want to come to auto crash on the African continent. It's something that we can't write home about at all. It's happening daily. People are losing their lives, and we have what? Because those who are supposed to see to it have the means to either fly or drive in very good cars and have all whatever, so they are protected. By the poor or majority of the people fall short and then are killed in road crashes now, or auto crashes. Now, what was that accident? How did it happen? Do you have any information pertaining to that, sir?
Well, when it comes to road accidents in Nigeria, a lot of Nigerians, do get concerned. Just as a lot of us outside as well. Like I said, we traveled, yesterday on the M1, M25, and you could see, the changes, the pattern of the road. I came here 23 years ago. My uncle that traveled with me, Heritage, said that when he used to travel through the M1, it used to be 2 lane. It has been expanded to 4 as we speak. It's now been expanded to 6. But in Nigeria, it's just the one way, and sometimes the road as bad as what you can think of. So what we can tell you is the Federal Road Safety Corps said that 1 person died while 10 others sustained injury in an accident that occurred at Kobakpe on Abeokuta Shagamu Expressway yesterday. The FRC Sector Command in Ogun State, Ahmed Umar, confirmed the incident to newsmen in Abeokuta. The FRC officer explained that the accident involved in a Toyota Previa and a Toyota Avensis with the registration number AAA301HN. Umar said they occurred at about 6:35 p.m. yesterday, was caused by nothing more than excessive speed, loss of control by both vehicle drivers. So it seems both of them sometimes were probably challenging each other as they do on the Lewis Hamilton when it's running, forgetting that the road in Nigeria is not as powerful and any support system, and we can only pray for the dead and those that are already sustained injury for quick recovery.
Well, our hearts are with them, and the ones who have the one who died, may they rest in perfect peace, and those who are hospitalized, we pray for a speedy recovery for them. But that's where we say our authorities should rise up and do the right thing. I mean, can you just imagine if the roads, I mean, like here, when you are on the motorway, you know all those cameras, you know all those speed, they can decide to restrict or slow down the pace of cars that are applying the road, but they're saying that now reduce speed, drive 60 miles per hour or 50 or 40. Then look at it. At times people think that there are accidents, or at times there isn't anything, but they are watching everything and trying to protect or reduce speeds of various vehicles. But what do we see in Africa? Oh my goodness. Well, it is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. We're going to be running up, but let me see whether there have been any other comments. Okay, so far so good. I think I've touched on all the comments at the moment, because I promise you that when you put your comments, I'm going to read that. That's what I'm doing. So Yomi, before you go.
Well, it says from here, Olayomi Ogabi Clark says good morning to you, Archie. Good morning to you, Yomi. Good morning to Frank and the house as well. Adebi Noah says, please, Koiki Fulani are clean people now at Mowe, but Badagry Expressway now. Let's remain vigilant and report unnecessary activities of criminality to the nearest security operatives around us. And that is where we're going to bring it this morning. I'll be back again this morning, tomorrow morning rather. But for now, stay tuned with Starr Radio UK, where the show continue.
Okay, so thank you very, very much, Mr. Olayomi. Have a lovely day. We'll catch up tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.
Bye for now.
Yes, so I'm going to bring you a tune from Janet, and it says Arabani. Okay, I'll bring you something because of the urination activity that took place over the weekend here in the UK. So enjoy this tune, and I'll be with you. Stay tuned, don't you go away.
ò bá wí kọ́ mọ́ wọn ní ìgbò ọmọ rẹ̀. Iná máa rógún màmá ti ní pẹ̀lẹ́ mọ́ bàbá rógún màmá ṣojo. Sunday ẹ̀yẹ tó má ṣe bọ́ kí yẹn ò sí ní gbọ́mọ́. Òrìṣà tí ó ṣe bọ́kọ̀ màdé mọ́ ni ṣe bí yẹn ò kọ́ mọ́ lágbẹ̀dẹ. Ẹ bá lè jẹ́ ẹ̀bọ̀nà jẹ́ Adéyẹmí ọmọ sọ́kọ̀ kan láì dá. Kìkì orí tó máa kọ́ ni wípé Yorùbá nation yìí ló going back in. Ẹ̀dá bí rẹ̀ ṣọ̀wọ́n òye kò máa gbọ́dọ̀ wò kò máa gbọ́dọ̀ wò onílé wò òye. Ọmọ Yorùbá ẹ jẹ́ ká rórí. Ọjọ́ wo ni wọ́n dalẹ̀ Ifẹ̀ tán gangan? Àwọn kan sáré kó lè dára. Èrè bó bàjẹ́ kókò mi làwọn kan sá. Ṣó dára kí dára ṣó ìwà lókun. Yorùbá ìrònú kẹ́lọ́ fi mọ̀ ṣọ̀kan. Ọ̀tá ló pọ̀ tán ìwà ká.
This is Starr Radio UK. You ready to turn it up?
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
All ladies, you are invited to our premier 13th annual Women's Conference Lady to Lady Global Conference 2022. Theme, Joy. Date, Saturday, 30th July. Doors open at 11 a.m. Venue, Fairview's Concert Halls, the Phoenix Theater, Croydon, CR91DG3, United Kingdom. Register on www.ladytoladyglobalorg. Music Minister, CLC Healing Voices. Simeon, Queenie, Ada Ahe.
Congratulations, I have seen the glory of God.
Conference speakers Reverend Betty King, Pastor Marjorie, Pastor Sandra.
I did come to Lady, and from that day onwards, my life has never been the same.
See you there.
You go Afrobeat reggae dancer taking over. Yo, what's up, people? This is a boy Raskin Bobo One. Tune in every day, every night at the Starr Radio UK with the big man them Archie. When I say Orta, you say fire.
Welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Bringing the time now to 3 minutes past the top of the top of the hour. My apologies for that. 3 minutes to 12 here in the UK. Wherever you are, you can add and subtract. Either GMT +1 or -1 or plus or minus, whatever it is. But thank you very much once again for tuning in to join us today on the morning show. As I did say, or as the program will go, I'm opening the lines in the next 3 minutes for those of you who want to add your voice to the discussions, and then at 12:30 we'll cross over to Cyprus, where our own lady HRH Linda Palian is to bring you Career 101. In these challenging times, as we did on Friday, bringing you our money man, Mr. Dan Taburi, we'll be bringing you HR Linda Palian, who will be telling you more on what to do during this time when it comes to your career. Okay, do you throw in the towel? Do you continue with it? Do you go work a bit to make some money? And if you want to do all those things, how does it actually affect or impact your profession, your career, negatively or positively? We'll be looking into that in a moment. But for now, let's move on to some other stories making the rounds. But don't you go away, don't leave me alone. Just be with me, continue to share and post your comments across at appropriate. Now, when it comes to Ghana as well, it looks like there is only one way for the government of Ghana, and that is by going to the IMF. Well, last week we had the former finance and economic minister, Dr. Bufo, recommending or saying that recommending going to the IMF, to the government, saying that go there, but have a good negotiation team to do that. I mean, put your plans together, tell them that this is what we want to achieve and this is how we go. So we need some money, we need some help, rather than just saying, sitting on your hands and say that we're going to be getting money from the e-levy, which at the moment is said to have been delivering only about 10% of what government actually envisaged that they were going to be getting. Well, so this response from Gabi Archie, a de facto Prime Minister, a leading member of the New Patriotic Party, Gabi Archie, has dropped hints of Ghana possibly going to the International Monetary Fund for an economic bailout. In a series of tweets on Monday, President Akufo-Addo's cousin revealed that the much touted electronic transaction levy that was expected to inject some capital into the economy has delivered only 10% of the targeted revenue. Of course, if you're going to be taking people's money they've not used that money to do anything so that they profited from it, the fact that they're just moving money across and you say you're charging them, then now according to him, e-levy was expected to rake in some 600 million cedis by now after its implementation, but has so far delivered only 60 million cedis. Now Ghana is reeling on under a severe economic crisis as fuel costs of other products have tripled since the beginning of the year. The situation has been compounded by the Russia-Ukraine war, which has recently been highlighted by the MPP government as the single major contributory factor to the skyrocketing fuel prices in Ghana, like other African countries, which has consequently affected the price of general commodities, including food. Mr. Chodakun added that he is not against an IMF program in principle, but against a program that will impose crippling sanctions that will hit the poor Ghanaian hard. So, well, e-levy did not hit them that hard. He reckons that if they go to the IMF, it could. But like the former Minister for Finance and Economic Planning did advise sometime last week, he said that go with a plan in hand, tell them that this is what we want to achieve and this is how we're going to be achieving that, and see whether that will not happen. Well, it is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now to 12:12. Okay, let me announce the lines open and let's continue with it. You want to join in the conversation, call me on 0208 133 2257 or 58. Yes, join me on that one. Let me know what you think about issues that has been going on or that has been discussed so far. Okay, now let's now move on to those of you in US, Canada, or the Caribbean area, it is 0017183032737 0017183032737. To text or WhatsApp us 07539661744 07539661744. Yes. So get that. We can tweet at us. Our Twitter handle is at Starr Radio UK, and our email address is info@starradiouk.com. starradiouk.com. All right then. Whatever it is, just get in touch with us. Okay. Now let's move on to some of the other stories making the rounds across the African continent before we move on to other parts of the world as well. Now we go on further looking at Osafo Mafo. Osafo Mafo has advised Akufo-Addo against the completion of against the completion of Buankra Inland Port, Bantama Youth alleges. Now, the presidential advisor caught on tape making ethnocentric comments. Osafo Mafo questions the contributions of Ashantis towards Ghana's independence. Now, the Bantama Youth Association or Bantama Youth Association accuses government of abandoning major developmental projects in the Ashanti region. The Bantama Youth Association has accused presidential advisor Nana Yaw Osafo Mafo of being the reason the construction of the Buankra Integrated Logistics Terminal project near Kumasi has been stalled. They allege that they are convinced that presidential advisor Nana Yaw Osafo Mafo advised the president against the construction of the inland after leaked audio of the presidential advisor stated that the people of Ashanti did not contribute to Ghana's independence fight. The Bantama youth were reacting to a publication of a secret tape recording in which the presidential advisor is heard making some ethnocentric comments. In the said tape, which has recently gone viral, the presidential advisor during a meeting with delegates of the New Patriotic Party in the Eastern region questioned the contribution of the Ashanti people while touting the Achim tribe as having led the fight for independence. Now it goes on to say Mr. Osafo Mafo, who was speaking to the delegates ahead of the MPP recently held regional elections, entreated the delegates to vote for an Achim candidate while emphasizing the contribution of the tribe to the party. Interesting. Well, I think that they are on their way of losing everything now, because if that is how they're going to be going and Ashantis decide that they are not going to play ball, then what happens? Okay. It's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. And I'm moving on straight to some other stories making the rounds on the African continent as well. A man has been my apologies. Egypt is trying a man over murder of a student who refused advances. The story says a trial began for an Egyptian man accused that's yesterday of stabbing a woman to death in a public street after she rejected his advances, a case that has sparked widespread outrage. A video went viral last week appearing to show the victim, identified as a student Nayera Ashraf, being stabbed by a young man outside her university. The crime has triggered widespread anger both in Egypt and beyond, having been followed a few days later by a similar incident in which a Jordanian student, Iman Ishad, was shot dead on the university campus. My goodness. Now, social media users immediately drew comparison between the two murders, decrying cases of femicide in the Arab world. At the Mansoura Criminal Court, 130 kilometers, that's about 80 miles north of Cairo. Now, Mohammed Adel was accused of premeditated murder after confessing to intentionally killing the victim. A correspondent has said Ashraf had previously reported an alleged perpetrator to the authorities, swearing that he would attack her, according to her father and witnesses. The maximum penalty for murder in Egypt, murder is death in Egypt, okay, which carried out the third highest number of execution in the world in 2021, according to Amnesty International. He stabbed her several times, said the prosecution, which found messages threatening to cut her throat on the victim's phone. My goodness. If somebody rejects your advances, is that what or how to treat the person? My goodness. That means that it's a man's world there. It's a man's world there. You dare not say no to a man. Some people say, you're not my type, whether it's your type or not. But what do you think? It is all coming away from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let's move on to some other stories making the rounds on the African continent. One more, and then we move straight to other story. Now, Lumumba's coffin has been displayed at his murder site for a week in Katanga. Now, Patrice Lumumba's coffin arrived on Sunday in Haute Katanga in the southeast of the Democratic Republic of Congo, where a wake is being held at the site of Independence Heroes' murder. A single truth is all that remains of the young scholar and nationalist politician whose life and career were cut short in a dark struggle for leadership and control of resources in the Central African country. And up to now, it's going on. Now, Patrice Lumumba, for me, as a quote said, is a master in thought. He is someone who brought political awakening to the Congo, not only to fight for independence, but also for the future. He had a vision of making Congo a united country and a strong country. Joseph Anganda, executive of the Congolese National Movement, said. After resting in his native village, the coffin of the former Belgian Congo first post-independent prime minister pursued its memorial pilgrimage further. It was here in this town that Lumumba was executed in January 1961, 4 months after the end of his brief term in office. Now, Shila Tembo is a place of drama, as His Excellency the Prime Minister said. All the time we are on the road, I had tears in my eyes. I was crying. This is the place where they decided to finish him, Patrice Lumumba, to kill him because he had his idea. He had his ideas, but did not disappear. These people were wrong, says Kumelundu Kasongo, a resident of Lubumbashi. Okay, the names are mouthful, so just bear with me. And now, for Josephat Sungo, another resident of Lubumbashi, what we can remember about Lumumba is that he is a national hero and he taught us unity and peaceful cohesion. Now, Lumumba's body was dissolved in acid after he was killed, but the Belgian police officer kept the tooth as a trophy. Belgian authorities in 2016 seized the relic from his daughter. The symbolic burial ceremony in Kinshasa is planned for June 30, which is Independence Day. Well, you know, I say it all the time, he wouldn't have been able to be captured, killed, overthrown, unless our own, or the, as I will call it, the Congolese were involved in the whole thing. And you have when like what is happening in Yoruba now. Let me just cite that as an example. They are agitating that they want to leave Nigeria. Okay, so assuming they are allowed to leave, then some who want to still would have want to still remain in Nigeria, then go on the path of fighting against him, and will now connive with let's call it Nigeria as a whole to just get rid of him. And that's exactly what happened then. We saw that many times on the African continent when we have various leaders. In Ghana we have Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, in other places, and they were all overthrown and all killed and stuff like that. It remained only a few of them, a handful of them, who lived to actually maybe see to the implementation of their dreams or ambitions. But again, it came to a point where they had to be strong-handed to be able to carry their agenda through, because those who opposed them, maybe saying that slow down or whatever, like we saw in Ghana, decided to maybe be planning mischief against them, and therefore you have to wield a strong hand to either imprison them or maybe they ended up killing them as well. But what a world we live in. 12:12 the time, Starr Radio UK. Let's move on to other parts of the world to look at some of the stories making the rounds there. But share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to love our pages. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay, a couple of stories from the world front. A quick one from there. Yes, the first one. Help us end war by year's end. Zelensky urged world leaders. Well, now yes and now this morning, information that was coming through was now Russia now targeting Kyiv, that's the capital of the Ukraine, again coming back to it. And I was asking myself the question, isn't that because they've been able to annex the Donbass or conquer the Donbass area, and therefore now they are turning their focus onto the capital or other parts of Ukraine. Is that what is happening there? And what do you think is going to come out of that? Well, information coming through says that President Vladimir Zelensky, has addressed the G7 summit via video link, calling for more weapons for Ukraine. He tells global leaders gathered in Germany that he wants the war to end by the end of the year before winter sets in. Sources have said the G7 leaders are expected to offer more military support as well as further sanctions against Russia. Now, with some planning to ban Russia gold imports. Now, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson is to call for action to get grain supplies out of Ukraine's blockaded ports as fears grow of famine in Africa and the Middle East. Now, meanwhile, Russia has reportedly defaulted on its debt for the first time since 1918. Where or who have they defaulted their debts to? Now, Russian missiles hit Ukrainian cities on Sunday. One strike on a residential apartment block in Kyiv killed at least one person and injured others, and that's what is happening there. And then the UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson has compared standing up to Nazi Germany with today's conflict in Ukraine following Russia's invasion. Now, he said that the action of democratic nations in the last century brought decades and decades of stability and world order. So what is going to be the plan? Are they now going to say that any country that rears its ugly head to do something will come just crashing on them, or what? Okay, so coming away from Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, when I talk about the debt there, the debt default, not our problem, Kremlin is saying. But the Kremlin has rejected claims there are no grounds to call this situation a default. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said. Now, Peskov said Russia made bond payments due in May, but the fact they had been blocked by Euroclear, a bank which then distributes the payment to international creditors because of Western sanctions on Russia, was not their problem. So they said, you know what? We have our money, we are going to pay whatever we have to pay, but you block the channel, the means of transacting that business. So do you blame us? No, we have got the money, so we don't give a hoot about what is going to happen there. But at the end of the day, where is all this going to go to? The common Russians as well, who are going to be suffering. But when it comes to this mind games that is being played, my goodness, this is proper propaganda. What activity that seems to be going on. But it is Star Radio UK. Well, interestingly, let me bring this story. Now, Russian forces have been repeatedly accused of stealing grain from Ukrainian farmers in occupied areas, as well as other crops such as sunflower seeds, along with fertilizer and agriculture equipment. Now, the story says that, well, a few dozens miles from the frontline, Ukrainian farmer Dmytro describes how the business he nurtured over 25 years was lost in 4 months of Russian occupation. Now, he said 200 farmers whose land is now in Russian occupied territory. Dmytro, we are not using his real name to protect him from reprisals, was one of the few willing to meet us. They stole our grain, they destroyed our premises, destroyed our equipment, and they nicked this up. He says Russian forces now occupy 80% of the tens of thousands of hectares he farms, and accuses them of stealing grain on an industrial scale. The CCTV from one of the company's sites captured the moment the Russian arrived with blurred some of the surroundings to protect the identities of the farm owners. Later in the footage, one soldier spots a security camera and shoots at it, but misses. Now, grain trucks were stolen, and Dmitry says a couple of them had GPS trackers fitted. We are able to use this data to see they had gone south into Crimea, which Russia annexed in 2014. Now, to what end? How are we going to sort all this out? Well, it is Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now let's move on straight to one other story from the world front, and then we go on. Now, those of you who are animal rights and who love all those, a whole baby holy mammoth has been found frozen in the permafrost of northwestern Canada, the first such discovery in North America. The mummified Ice Age mammoth is thought to be more than 30,000 years old. It was found by gold miners in Yukon Klondike region on Tuesday. The area of the find belongs to Natrondek in the First Nation. Now, Yukon government compared it to Russia's discovery of a baby mammoth in the permafrost of Siberia in 2007. It was the most complete mummified mammoth found in North America and only the second such find in the world. Now, the baby, thought to be female, has been named Nonchuga, meaning big baby animal in the Han language spoken by Native Americans in the area. Nonchuga is beautiful and one of the most incredible mummified Ice Age animals ever discovered in the world, said Yukon paleontologist Grant Zazula. It is about the same size of the Siberian baby Lyoba found in 2007, which was some 42 years old, the Yukon government said in a press statement. Well, so a bit of discovery there for you. What mammoth is it? Is it a type of elephant? Or it looks like, the picture looks like maybe a baby elephant, sort of. That's what I would have called it. But what kind of? The legs are not as tall or long as that of an elephant, though. But it's got a trunk as well. But it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, some good news making around. Adele Roberts has revealed that she's free of bowel cancer. The Radio 1 DJ wrote on his Instagram to share the news 8 months after starting treatment. Wish her all the best. She's a fellow radio presenter as well. So why wouldn't we celebrate her? We thank God for that. Okay. The Queen in Edinburgh for Royal Weekend, Scotland. She's pictured smiling during a ceremony at the start of the Royals annual week in Scotland. And then travel for surgery offer to cut long waits. That's the new norm. That's going to seem to be the only way forward. The only way forward for the NHS or for government to see to address the waiting times on the NHS. The NHS patients in England who have been waiting more than 2 years for surgery are being offered hospital treatment in alternative parts of the country. More than 6,000 long-term waiting list patients are being offered travel and accommodation costs where appropriate to help the NHS through the backlog. Now, health officials want to ensure nobody is waiting more than 2 years by the end of July. Now, more than 400 patients have already said they would be prepared to travel. Now, 3 patients waiting for surgery in Derby have already received treatment in the Northumbria Health region, with another 2 patients booked in NHS England said. Now, in southwest London, 17 orthopedic patients from the southwest of England are being treated, with another 11 patients set to follow in the coming weeks. So those are some of the stories making the rounds there when it comes to your health and what you got to know. It is All Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, one other sad story, because I was there over the weekend, and then for only yesterday, that was on Saturday, and for only yesterday to have this story coming from Birmingham. Now, a woman has been found dead at the scene of a major gas explosion that destroyed a house in Birmingham and damaged others. Now, in a court, the fire brigade people there were, so we're very sad to confirm that a woman has been found dead at the scene. West Midlands Fire Services have said. A man also suffered life-threatening injuries in the blast in Dulwich Road and King's Standing, which happened just after 20:30 BST yesterday. Now, at least 3 other homes were damaged and properties were evacuated. The man was rescued from the house by people at the scene but had suffered various very serious injuries, the ambulance service said. Now, 4 other men suffered more minor injuries and were discharged by paramedics. Now, Martin Ward White, the incident commander for the WMFS, said the woman who died was found relatively quickly within the property that exploded. Now, footage on the social media showed flames engulfing the terraced red brick house. And then the next steps for the fire service and gas board will be to start the investigation into what caused this explosion. Mr. Ward White said, "We know it is gas, but what actually caused that gas explosion? This will probably take a substantial amount of time." Well, we hope that it is all sorted out and then we go on. Well, before we run up the first part of the program and take you to Cyprus, where our own lady HRH Linda Pallian is, just hold on. Now, barristers are walking out of courts over pay, but the Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister for Justice is calling for them to rescind their decision. Now, barristers are striking across England and Wales in the dispute over pay and conditions. Now, more than 1,000 cases will be impacted on each day of the strikes, the Criminal Bar Association have said. Now, Justice Secretary Dominic Raab said strikes will only delay justice for victims with courts already facing a backlog of 58,271 cases. Now, Kirsty Brimlow, QC, Deputy Chair of the CBA, said the proposed 15% pay rise will not happen until the end of 2023. But then, it will be too late to help and will not do enough to stem the flow of junior justice barristers leaving the bar. Mr. Raab urged barristers to agree the proposed 15% pay rise, which will see a typical barrister earn around 7,000 more a year. Now, but Mr. Brimlow, speaking from the picket line outside Manchester Crown Court, said that the system had run on goodwill for a long time, including throughout the pandemic, with junior barristers working ridiculous hours. She said the issue had been caused by government, not by the barristers. The government's criminal legal aid system pays for both solicitors and barristers to ensure suspects who can't afford lawyers are properly advised and represented from their police interview through the trial. Barristers have been rallying outside a number of high-profile courts, including the Old Bailey in London and Birmingham, Manchester and Bristol Crown Courts. Those joining picket lines have been warned they could face disciplinary proceedings for misconduct if they don't turn up to court by the most senior judge in England and Wales, the Chief Justice Lord Burnett. Well, but it's saying we're not going to sit down. We're going to embark on that demonstration. Well, so this is what is happening here in the UK as well. So this is why I bring the program to the first part of the program to close. We're going to be taking you to Kent, where, my apologies, why did I say Kent? Good morning or good afternoon to you, Money Man, Mr. Dantebri. I'm going to take you to Cyprus, but before that, let's enjoy this tune. 3 Little Birds, a cover version by 3B4 Joy, and then I bring you HRH Linda Pallian.
It was also one of our grandmother's favorite songs.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world.
It's gonna be alright. Don't worry about a thing. Every little thing is gonna be alright. Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun. 3 little birds pitch by my doorstep, singing sweet songs.
Radio UK.
Every little thing is gonna be alright.
Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7.
About a thing. Every little thing is gonna be alright. Oh, don't worry about a thing. Every little thing is gonna be alright. Oh,
Okay, so that is 38 or 3B for joy. 3B for joy for you on Star Radio UK, bringing you don't worry about a thing, everything, somewhere, somehow, that's get alright. What about that? Well, it is Star Radio UK. At this juncture, we're going to be crossing over to Cyprus, where we have our own HRH Linda Palian. Well, she cannot bring you the image, so we're going to be going no image. All right then. Yes, while she brings you that. Okay, so stay tuned, don't you go away. Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. In sunny Cyprus, yes, it's sunny here in the UK, whether you like it or not. London, I even have a t-shirt on, vest only. Linda, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Archie. You forget that you're live and I can see
you. Okay, I didn't know that. I changed into How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
We're also doing very, very well. How is Mr. Pelian?
Fantastic too.
Great. Now let me ask you a quick question before we go on. How is the Brexit thing, the umpires that is going on, how is it affecting
This is Star
the
Radio
expatriates
UK.
There's so much uncertainty that nothing is actually happening. So that's the general sentiment.
Okay, listeners, that is for your information. That's what is happening outside the UK when it comes to the Brexit, the uncertainty, and what should people do next. But it is now time for us to talk about Career 101. So, Linda, what are we talking about today?
Today we're going to talk about sales and selling yourself and your skills. And I think it's very timely, actually, in this Brexit environment, talking about selling yourself effectively so that in the uncertainty you still master the art of putting across your value and your skills and your services.
Okay, interesting. So when you talk about sales or selling yourself, somebody is thinking now, wow, what is he talking about? Am I going to wrap myself, put myself in a very nice package, place myself outside there, put a price tag on myself, and they say, who wants to buy me? So what do you mean by selling yourself?
Absolutely. And I would encourage people to think about it like that, literally selling yourself, wrapping up yourself in a nice package and putting a price tag on yourself. Because when we talk about sales, a lot of people think of sleazy salesmen that are going to force you to buy something you don't want, don't need, and all of the psychological tricks that people play on you. But actually, we're all selling ourselves, and sales is something that we all do all the time. The biggest example I say is when you're dating someone, you're selling yourself. You appear literally, and you're like, "Oh, this is me. I've dressed up nicely. Would you like a piece of this, or do you want to get to know more?" Do you know what I mean? You're selling yourself.
Yeah.
Whether you're selling yourself to your family in a job interview, to clients as well, you're still selling yourself. So it's really important that you know how to do that properly.
Okay. So how do you do that then?
Okay. Before we talk about that, sales is your CV, your LinkedIn, your cover letter. They're all sales documents.
Okay.
And you need to think of it like that. A lot of people think, oh, I'm just going to write what I've done, and it's just an account. But it's a sales document, and just like you would package a nice product to sell to the market, or you would write a proposal for a tender, you need to think of your CV and your cover letter and your LinkedIn and your online profile, your Facebook page, your business Facebook page, if you've got that, exactly as a sales document. So what do you need to communicate to ensure that people are interested and you're bringing them in to inquire more? So just like a shop window will have like the lovely displays, to have that eye-catching sentence, that eye-catching talent, that eye-catching skill that people will say, yes, I want more of this. Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you need? Let's go to that. There's 4 things to be aware of when it comes to sales. Okay. The first thing is it's a needs match process.
Okay.
Supply and demand, in other words. Okay. You're going to be selling yourself to somebody who needs your service, and vice versa. The only reason why someone will employ you is because they need someone to do that role, or you're fulfilling a need that they want.
Yeah.
So you don't just get employed because you've got a degree, or because you want a job, or because you know somebody. I mean, that might work in the short term, but not sustainably. It's usually because they employ you for a particular service and skill.
Yeah.
And therefore, you're not just a seat warmer, you need to provide that service or skill that they employ you for.
Okay.
That's first of all. Second, you have to give value in exchange for money. So this touches again upon the first point. It's a value money exchange. A lot of people think you're just being paid for your time, or as long as I show up, I'm going to get paid. If you're not given the value, over time you'll be found out, and it doesn't work. The third aspect of sales is perceived value versus actual value.
Perceived value versus actual value.
And we all know this, where you know somebody who works really hard, and all their colleagues will tell you, oh, they know everything. You ask them for any question, they'll be able to solve it. They solve customers' problems, they go above and beyond, but they're not being paid their worth. They're not being paid any more than anybody that comes in and does the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's where the perceived value and the actual value. So when we come to how to sell yourself, I'll give you the solution to that. Okay. But this is really important. When you're working really hard and not being paid your worth, because the managers don't see it, there's a mismatch between perceived value and actual value. Okay. And then the last thing is value needs effective communication. Okay, you need to be able to communicate this value so that perceived value matches actual value.
Okay.
Okay, so sometimes you're amazing, but if you're not telling people about it, then they don't know, because they're probably on the top level and they just see the work gets done and they don't know who does it, or who you on the ground running does it. So it's really important that perceived value matches actual value.
Okay. Yeah. A quick question just come through. Listen to Starr Radio UK, Career 101 with Linda HRH, Linda Pelian, and we're looking at selling yourself, sales and selling yourself. Now, a question has come in. The person is saying, we know that action speaks louder than words. So there will be somebody who can say, I'm good at that, blah, 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 blah. But we're talking about somebody who just put his head down, make sure he delivers on everything. So if he's saying that people should, like, vamp up their whatever, their presence on social media and everything, and let people know that, yeah, you can do this. But when it comes to delivery, there isn't much to write about. Then what are you talking about?
Okay, so if you're not going to give any value, forget about it.
Okay.
Or forget about anything long term. You can get away with it in the short term.
Okay.
Your morale and your values allow you to do that. Your ethics allow you to do that. But in the long term, it doesn't work because you will get found out.
Oh, okay.
But what I'm talking about is the false modesty and the people who are really doing the job, the underdogs that are not being paid their worth.
Yeah.
This is who needs to be selling themselves and showcasing their talents. Because there's nothing more frustrating than seeing someone who really deserves an award and they've been missed out on this award over and over again, or they deserve a pay rise. They're doing the works of 2 or 3 people, or doing the works of managers, and not getting the recognition for it. It's very frustrating, and the company can't even afford to lose these people. But they've been seeing it enough or recognizing it enough.
Interesting. Yeah, it's clear. Yeah, please go on.
So how do we do this? I'm going to give 3. There's a lot of ways to make sure that your perceived value matches the actual value, and you're being paid your worth, and you're selling yourself effectively. But I'm going to do three important ones to get you started on selling yourself effectively and your skills effectively. Okay. So the first one is communicating in stories.
Communicating in stories.
Yeah.
Okay.
Telling a story, because the human brain is such that we remember stories. Okay. And people buy into people they know, like, and trust. So if you're saying, oh, I'm a very good communicator, I'm a very good team leader, I've done this and that for customers, it's not as effective as painting a picture and saying, when this customer came in and they were very distressed and they threatened to sue us and they were this, and I calmed them down, I spoke to them, and you've got to really paint that picture so clearly. We'll see the value you added in that situation. So that means in CVs and in your interviews, it's giving examples, vivid examples that people can relate to, and say, well, if you can do this in this situation, you can bring this into the job that I'm employing you to do.
Okay. So which is the second one, please?
The second one is communicating effectively. So that you can convey the value. This is where personal and professional branding really kicks in. Okay, if you're a Starr person, like a Sterling employee, and this goes again for, you don't just have to be an employee, anyone providing value, goods and services, so business owners, everyone. If you have a good product, you're a good person, you're a good employee, you've got these set of skills that you can do fantastically, and you're not communicating it, well, no one's going to know, and therefore they're not going to pay you your worth. Or sometimes you might see that there's a really good course or there's a really good book, and you can't believe you paid £2 for it. You're thinking this should be everywhere. Why aren't they teaching this in schools? Why is no one shouting from the rooftop about it? And it's because people haven't branded or sold themselves. So the good products are being undersold. And then sometimes you pay tens of thousands for a product and you think there's no substance there at all. It's good at branding and telling you and making all of these promises of what it will deliver, that they've been able to convince people to spend a huge amount of money or a huge amount of time on the product when it doesn't deliver. It's really important as an employee, as a business owner, as an individual, as a stay-at-home mom. You still need to brand yourself and set the rules for how you want to be related to. Be treated.
Okay, interesting. Listen to Starr Radio UK, and HRH is giving us the 3 points of how to actually communicate or sell yourself out. Okay, yes, please go on.
Okay, so we've spoken about speaking in stories so that people remember it. They know, they feel like they know, like, and trust you. And look at all the big brands, that's what they do. We know Steve Jobs' story. We know Tony Robbins' story. We know Boris Johnson's story. We know everyone's story. You know, how they grew up, how they got to where they were, what schools they attended. These are all stories that we buy into and remember the people by. Okay. And then the second one, we spoke about branding, and communicating your value effectively.
Yeah.
You know, if you're giving a high-end product, then you expect a high-end service to go with it.
Of course.
You know, so having that branding that's coherent, that will not put any doubt in the stakeholder's mind of the value. Otherwise, there's a perception and actual value mismatch. If you're a Starr employee, then you need to be communicating to the right people what you do and showing evidence, gathering testimonials from your colleagues and your friends that are really going to testify that you're the Starr employee that deserves that pay rise and promotion. The third one is skills packaging. Skills packaging. And this is for the listeners that really want to change jobs and change fields. Packaging skills so that it's transferable in any industry. Okay, so it relates to you rather than what you've learned. Packaging skills so that you can move. I'm going to use one of my clients as an example now. Move from chemist into business analyst, because you take the same scientific research method you would in testing chemicals to actually conducting a risk analysis assessment or a assessment. Okay, we've had handwriting, someone who's gone from being a physicist in NASA to becoming a handwriting specialist because he's working with fine tools and being able to pay attention to detail. Another example is someone who's been a nanny for, I think she was a nanny for 25 years, and then went into selling real estate, but family homes, properties for family homes, because you can paint the picture of how your child will feel running around the pool and walk in the open garden. When I used to be a nanny, the children love this most, and actually if you buy this is the best thing you're doing for your children. You know, packaging these skills so you can transfer them from any industry. Feel like you're stuck.
Wow.
That is to sell yourself.
Interesting. Listeners, Starr Radio UK. It's gone 3 minutes past 1, but we will bring the conversation to a close in the jiffy. But another question that someone is asked, he says that someone is written a CV, and they are very, very, what should I call it? They've got experience, they are well educated, they've got, virtually even more than what is required. But you look at the packaging, the way they've done it, the presentation, it's like quite lengthy. So maybe the first paragraph doesn't capture everything that this person has to do, but in the whole, I'll call it the whole page, they manage to put everything there. Now, what will you advise such person to do if they want to sell themselves?
Oh, this is a great question. I'm so glad you asked that. When I do CVs with my clients, the CV in itself is a communication masterpiece, because you're conveying what you've learned over the last 30, 40, 50, 60 years in 2 pages. If you're in the UK, 2 pages is usually the acceptable standard for a CV. So it's really picking out the key important things to include. And a lot of people in their CVs will talk about everything they've done, and of course some of it is repetitive as well. And then a recruiter, by the way, I hope this is not a shock to anybody, you may have spent a year working on your CV. A recruiter on average spends 7 seconds looking at your CV. 7 seconds, not minutes, seconds. Need to be impressive from the word go. The first word I read needs to be impressive. In your experiences, all your highlights should be on top. The most impressive thing you've done should be the first sentence, and then it goes down, and everything else is complimentary. But the first words are so important. What I call your professional highlights or your professional profile at the top, usually people put 4-5 word sentences maximum your professional profile that sums up you as a person and your suitability for the role. Those paragraphs, sometimes it takes 3 days for us to nail that paragraph, but you know that when I'm recruiting, if I read that paragraph and I like it, I will carry on reading the rest of the CV. If I don't like it, I won't read the rest of the CV. I've only got 7 seconds out of 10,000 applications to look through.
Yeah.
So really, and again, this is communication is an art that you develop, and you can work with a coach to get perfectly, so that anybody who picks up your CV sees immediately how excellent you are, and then they're able to recruit you that way.
Wow. So if you're listening to us this afternoon and you have an interview to attend, you are at the place, you think that, look, I want to better myself, I want to package myself such that when somebody even sees me from afar, will want to run and come and inquire what or who I am, then you have to continue to listen to us whilst HRH Linda Pillion put her details there for you, because it says the best way to do it, you have a good CV. Woo! 7 seconds. Can I get everything that I want to know about you? Well, she can help you to do that. So, Linda, please, can you put your details across and our closing remarks, please?
Absolutely. You can contact me on my cheerleader on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, at my cheerleader. My cheerleader is spelled MyCheerLinda. MyCheerLinda. And I'm so passionate about selling, because CVs, cover letters, LinkedIn, it's all a sales job. So you've got, and what I do best is help people sell themselves. People are awesome, they didn't even realize it. And normally you see this, you do their CV and they're like, oh my God, are you talking about me? Is this me? You finished with this. And that is such a good payoff for a coach, because then you've been able to show them exactly how they're underselling themselves and what they're capable of.
Yeah.
So to get in touch, I have a lot of resources on this. I've got lots of free resources. I've got resources where I'd hold your hand personally and help you do this, so that you can make the best first impression with your CV when you meet someone face to face, online, etc.
Wow.
At my cheerleader.
At my cheerleader. Okay. So let's say thank you very much to Linda for that wonderful presentation once again. So if you followed us today and you enjoy the program, you know the details that she put across. Please just link up with her and she will help you on that front. But this is where I'm bringing the first part, bringing the program to a close for today. Tomorrow, God willing, we're going to be coming your way with another edition of the morning show. I'll be having Mr. Olayomi Koiki, who will be joining in to look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe, from Nigeria to other parts of the world, as well as I say all the time, from archaeology to zoology, from Accra to Zanzibar. But before we run up or we sign off, let me just update the system to see whether there's any other stories that has made the round that we've missed out on. It seems things are taken along very, very nicely. Yes, on the YouTube channel, a few comments there as well. Kabiru Waris said, good morning, Yoruba Nation. No going back. And Sunday Wale says, we are waiting for it to be declared, for the declaration of Yoruba Nation. Okay. Yes, and to ask many of you who were on the YouTube channel and other channels listening to us and sharing your take with us, I salute each and every one of you so much. Okay, just bear with me. Just want to make sure that I brought you all that you need to know. The House of Assembly Speaker resigns from APC. The House of Assembly Speaker resigns from APC. That is in Nigeria. That is some of the breaking news coming through. House of Assembly Speaker resigns from APC and joins PDP. Okay, the Speaker of the Sokoto State House of Assembly, Aminu Achida, has left the All Progressive Congress APC for the People's Democratic Party, the PDP. Reports that the report coming in, Achida was received on Sunday in Sokoto by Governor Fenyi Okowa of the Delta State. the PDP vice presidential candidate in respect of the 2023 elections. So those are some of the updates. As I said, I'm trying to capture all the latest stories that is making, yes, the rounds. And as I said earlier on, Tinubu is said to have departed Nigeria for France. We'll bring you more on that and any other breaking story that is making the round. Justice Kayode Ariwola set to step in as new Chief Justice of Nigeria. Those are some of the stories making the rounds. When it comes to their travels, those of you in London, well, a bit of updates there for you. If you are on the underground, the second line has now got minor delays anti-clockwise due to a faulty train earlier, and then Hammersmith and City Lines is also facing that because of that incident, faulty train. There are minor delays due to train cancellations on the London Overground as well. No service between Wandsworth Road and Clapham Junction while they fix a signal failure at Clapham Junction, and good service on all other routes. Now, Northern Line has got minor delays due to an earlier signal failure at High Barnet. Tickets have been accepted on London buses. Okay, so those are the updates that have come your way now, and we're bringing the program to a close. Well, on the National Rail, those of you traveling on the Northern and the Mersey Rail have got minor delays, so check before you leave so you don't miss your appointments there. On that note, let me say thank you very much once again for tuning in to listen to us or watch us live. Yes, we'll be coming your way tomorrow with another edition of the morning show. It's with me, Archie, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, HRH Linda Palian, and Mr. Francis Gai, our able producer, saying have a top of the day. Bye bye for now, but enjoy this song, Redemption Song.
Old pirates, yes, they rob I, sold I to the merchant ships. Minutes after they took I from the bottom.
This is Starr Radio UK.
But my hand was made strong by the hand of the Almighty. We fought in this generation triumphantly. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever had.
Online, on mobile, and soon on DAB. This is Starr Radio UK, the leading Afro-Caribbean radio station in London.
Sounds from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Have no fear for atomic energy. None of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Some say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever had, redemption songs, redemption songs. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can can free our minds. Have no fear for atomic energy. None of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside?
Turn it up. This is Starr Radio UK.
It's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever had, redemption songs. All I ever had, redemption songs. All I ever had, redemption songs.